Hey guys, Drytron Nekroz here and welcome back to the second installment of my Making Nekroz Good in 2021 series. Today we're actually gonna be doing it a little bit differently than what you might be used to if you have been following this series since I started doing it. Because usually I just start off by showing you guys the new deck lists that I made and then hopping into the game. But if you watched the first episode of this series, you might recognize this list as being exactly the same list that I used in the last one, because I figured I just wanted to basically how do you say it, like slim down this list, make it a little bit more clean, because last time I figured there were just some cards that didn't really work for me or some ratios that didn't work, and then also I got a lot of feedback in the comments and in from the Nekroz Facebook group. So I'm definitely gonna be using those, of course, because I kind of liked the concept of the build, right? Going first with the Venti's ruler, and the Drytron card seemed pretty good, so I want to keep testing this build for this episode. But the reason I'm doing this is because it won't take that much time, because I'm not altering the list like in a really big way. So the video won't be dragging on too long, and I think it might give a little bit more insight in my deck building process, which might be interesting for the video series. And also I'll just be live creating the side deck here, or at least a part of it, depending on how long I take to think of what I want to play, but I already thought of some cards. So yeah, I guess we'll just start diving into it. I'm gonna keep the Drytron ratios for now just as they were in the last one. I'm gonna be running the 1 Manju as well. I think I'm gonna be cutting the Shura down to 2 actually. And I'm actually gonna be adding in a reinforcement of the army to sort of substitute for the third Shurit, and then also it can also be a Klausulas, so it's just better. It was just basically not correct to not play it in the first list, but I just kind of didn't think of it. Then I'll be playing the Vantage Ruler, the Ben 10, of course, triple Brionek, Klausulas. Decisive Armor, I think I already remarked in the first episode that I will be cutting this card, so there we go, bye-bye Decisive Armor. Gungnir I will be keeping in the list for now, even though it might not be that good anymore. I still think it has merit against more trap-heavy decks, and it just has utility anyway when protecting cards like your Necroz of Unicorn. Trishula, of course, has to be in the deck. Not much to say about that. 2 I fuse, 2 Brickyant, unnecessary, so still 1. Triple Unicorn, of course. Then this is basically a remnant of just having played in the 2015 format where Nekroz was arguably one of the best decks. Where I just automatically put in triple of this, while in 2021 this card's actually not good at all. Sadly, so we're gonna wave goodbye to 2 of the copies of Valkyrus. We're gonna stick with 1 for now. I mean, it is super searchable by a huge part of the deck, so we don't really need more than 1, I think. And just, it used to be really good because in 2015 there was basically no monsters anyway that negated monster effects in hand. Those just didn't exist, or were just very few, far and few in between. But now, I mean, if your opponent goes full combo, 1 Valkyrus isn't gonna save you, so I'm just gonna keep it in the deck as an option to have. Its on-field effect is nice as well, so there is that. I think I'm gonna keep playing the Drytron package for the spells anyway as it is. I am gonna be putting in another cycle, and I think that's actually gonna be the last edit, because that's just gonna make it a clean 40 cards, and at this moment I wouldn't really know what I would want to put in more, and I mean 40 cards is just better than 42, because it just gives you, you know, your the ability to see your good cards more often. And I don't think this is one of those decks that merits from not drawing bricks or anything, because there's not really bricks in the deck. I mean, they're arguable. There's also some cards you don't want to draw on doubles, but you know what I mean, right? So the extract I'm just gonna be keeping the same for now, I think. Moving on to the side deck, what I really want to play is a Denko Sekka, actually, because I think this card is really good, and this deck can really use it. What I want to do actually is I want to blind going first in game 1, and then after that side for going second, even when I get to the side, just because this first turn setup loses to so many cards. And I just think going second with really powerful Broward cards like Denko Sekka Dark Ruler no more. Let's get it. Dark Ruler will be quite good. We're playing Dark Ruler. I think I want to be playing, what's it called? Feather Duster as well. Let's just go with this artwork. I want to play Cosmic Cyclone because I think the card's just very good. And I just think we need some kind of out for cards like Skill Drain, Imperial Order, just dumb cards that make you automatically lose the game. I'm not sure if I want to play Hand Traps. I kind of don't, to be honest. I think I might actually put in Nibiru and Lancia. Yeah, those seems like pretty good cards. Yeah, I should probably be playing Lancia. Just this card is just so good, this form. It's actually one of the reasons why I think this deck might struggle a little bit. And now that I put this card in, I'm actually thinking that I probably want to play Call by the Grave, actually. You know what? I know I just held like an entire speech why 40 cards is better than more than 40, but we're just gonna be playing 41 with Call by the Grave. And then I'll just play 2 Nibiru, I guess, for now. Just see how this side deck works. I feel like we have 7 cards against back row and then 8 cards against combo, which seems reasonable. I want to say I'd rather play something like Droplet, but I really don't think this deck can really benefit from that. You really want all the cards in your hand you can use. So yeah, I think this is going to be the list we're going to be trying today. Yeah, I guess we'll just see how it works out. Okay guys, so let's hop into the replay. Fair warning ahead of actually watching it, this replay is fairly casual. However, I am very short on time right now because of work and other stuff going on, so I didn't really have time to grind DB until I ran into something like Dragon Link or Virtual World or Eldlik or whatever. So I mostly hope this replay is going to be fun. It's also going to be showing off how Nekroz Drytron maybe is not the best deck just yet, because it's really struggling against the deck I'm going to be playing against, but you're going to see what it is. So I do end up winning the die roll and then electing to go first. As you'll see, my hand is, it's alright, I guess. It's not the best, but I do have the extravagance to dig a little bit deeper. And you'll see that eventually, okay, I'm not drawing the best cards, but this is gonna allow me to eventually go for the ideal setup. Of course, Kaleidoscope into Unicorn is a pretty good start because it allows me to get to Herald. Then I'm gonna add Benten. 2-1 is gonna pitch Benten, which will then add Bryonek, of course, to set up for Nekroz plays, and Benten is gonna add the Vantage Ruler for me to drop later. Then I'm gonna go Bryonek to get a Shurit. I'm actually just gonna bring out the Unicorn with the Shurit to get Bryo for the next turn, and this way I do have 2 monsters alongside Unicorn to tribute for the Vantage Ruler. Ending on just this, maybe against the most of meta decks, this would not be enough, of course, depending on the kind of hand they had, but as you'll see, I'm actually playing against the, what's it called, the Sacred Beast structure deck. Well, not the structure deck, but, you know, including cards from the structure deck. I'm not gonna go too in-depth about this, but basically this adds a card, then you can discard a card to special summon the Fiend with 0 attack or defense from the graveyard, which are the other monsters, and then, as you'll see, my opponent's actually gonna summon the Dark Beckoning Beast, which is like a Searcher, and then you can also additionally do an additional normal summon, basically, so that is pretty strong. He's gonna go for Dark Summoning Beast, which summons one of the Sacred Beasts from the hand by tributing it, and then he's actually just gonna scoop, so he showed me the deck was playing, but then decided to concede because he apparently did not have any outs to my board, so pretty lucky for me. Now, before we go into the next game, I do want to point out that I actually sided out the Benten and Vantage Ruler package, because I figured I wouldn't be wanting to drop Vantage Ruler going second. But while playing the game, I actually kind of came back on that, because having Benten just to get to Manju or something is really good, and I really missed it in this specific game. And when you're out your opponent's board and then drop a Vantage Ruler, that's also pretty strong, so I'm not sure if I would continue with this side plan. However, as you can see, my hand is really good. I have Prep, Extravagance, Fafnir, and Cyclone for any traps you might have. I sided in Cyclones because I did play against this deck a couple of weeks back while I was testing, and then it was like, I played a bunch of Floodgates, so I was kind of scared of that. And also, they have the field spell, something Paradise, I'm not sure, which actually is Spot of Greed every turn, which is absolutely insane if you think about it. But yeah, he's gonna do oh, he's playing Danger as well, so his build is pretty cool, I have to admit. I'm gonna pitch the Beast he added, which is actually good for him because he will be able to revive it with the opening of Spirit Gate. And then I figured he might actually go for... also, this is like a graveyard effect where it searches the Fallen Paradise to the field spell, which it draws to. Quite insane. And then with this, he's gonna be able to search or bring out one to Sacred Beasts, which is quite strong. Then he's gonna add Ravio by banishing it. So these cards are kind of good if you actually think about it. But yeah, just their end game. There's not really a good end game plan, I feel. Like, they have Pot of Greed each turn. All the cards have multiple quite good effects, which are not like you can only use one of the effects once per turn, so that's quite strong. There you have the Pot of Greed. So it was definitely... It's funny, while I was playing, I was actually thinking that... wondering whether he was playing the Red Ice Fusion or not, but then later, I think I banished it with Trishula or something, spoilers. So I was like, okay, just look for me, he drew it, sorry. Pardon my English. And then he draws Ash here, so he has Impermanence Ash, which is actually gonna prove to be quite annoying. What my opponent... it's a little bit questionable, actually, but what probably would have been a good play on my opponent's part, you'll see he's just gonna keep the Red Ice Fusion in hand, but... it would have been good to set it to actually play around Trishula, but I feel like... almost everybody who did not play in 2015 wouldn't know to actually do that. I'm gonna go pot, and then I'm gonna draw Bryo and then another pot. So the second pot obviously not good, but Bryo like really good here. And because I drew the Tuban, my game plan is basically now go for Nova, go for Alpha, then go into Zeus, and then after that do Nekroz plays, and that should basically automatically win me the game. I'm gonna add the Nova, but then you're gonna see when I do Nova, it's actually gonna Ash. So that makes my hand super awkward actually, because I don't have the Ben 10 in deck, so I can't really generate pluses by going prep for Ben 10, then go Alpha, and then try to play, which is quite annoying. And this is just gonna force me into this super awkward position where the only play I can do basically is search some more ritual spells. So I do decide to Cyclone here. The reason I didn't do it before is because I want to play around Imperial Order just in case he had it, but I activated a bunch of spells, he didn't flip it, so I figured it might be something like Strike or something. So I'll just Cyclone it. He jokes here that that I want to banish the field spell instead, but of course I don't. So I'm just gonna add Kaleidoscope just because it's the best, along with if I top deck something like a Bryonek or a Unicorn. I probably didn't play this perfectly, by the way, but I'm just not familiar enough with the deck yet. So I just Trish him here, get rid of the one graveyard effect in his grave, banish the Uria, because I figured it would do the most damage against me in the hand card. The annoying thing is I'm just super struggling to out the 4000 beat stick here, which is quite annoying. I just can't out it. Like, I need to resolve another Trishula, and if my opponent can just keep summoning monsters or setting cards, I just won't be able to do it, and then my only out will be Gungnir, which is of course super awkward. He's got a couple of Greed again. Get Call by, which is really good top deck. He's gonna go Chupacabra, and of course I'm gonna hit the Chupacabra, because as you can see, both his hand cards are Chupacabra. He makes like a mistake here where he thinks that he actually gets to summon the Chupacabra, but I point out he doesn't, and then eventually a judge comes in, because he doesn't believe me. Then the judge points out that I am in fact correct, because it states not like discard or whatever it specifically says if you did not discard a danger Chupacabra. So obviously it does work like that. But it doesn't really matter because he's still quite far ahead. He's gonna do the play anyway, bring out the Mothman, then normal summon the Chupacabra to play around Trish. Or maybe not to play around Trish, but not sure if it was in his intention, but he did it anyway. He summons a token here, but it's only when I normal summon. Then he's just gonna poke for damage. And what's gonna happen here is I'm gonna top deck another Alpha. Yeah, attack with 0. Very funny, very funny. I'm gonna top deck Zeta, which is really good because this will allow me to go into another Zeus. I do still have the Lyralisk and Downward and Zeus in my extra deck, but I did bench all my Linkaribos, which is why you won't see me making it. But then he's actually gonna go Call by the Grave on the Zeta, which is a little bit unfortunate. So I'm just gonna have to add Valkyrus to not die. I didn't go for Bryo or Unicorn because I'd prefer to keep those in the deck for potential follow-ups. He's gonna go Pot of Greed again. This card is really, really crazy. I'm gonna snipe him like the sniper I am. Then he's gonna add Tsuchinoko, which I'm gonna miss. Gonna hit Upstart Goblin. He's gonna draw the trap, which doesn't really do anything relevant, to be honest. So I'm not gonna bother reading it to you guys. Then I'm gonna let the alpha die because I would maybe want to use a graveyard effect. But then, of course, I have to Valk because if I don't, my life points hit 0. And when your life points hit 0, you lose the game. And I prefer that not happen. He's gonna pass. And then I'm actually gonna top deck Gamma. And he's gonna flip the trap in standby phase. And now I'm actually in a super good position because Alpha will allow me to add any ritual monster. I'm gonna add Gungner just because it's one of the worst ones to top deck. And I can just get it from Grave Rift a cycle later potentially. Then I'm gonna go Gamma. And then I am gonna... He's gonna gain a bunch of life points because this trap card allows you to gain life points equal to the attack of the monster summoned every time it's happened. And these guys are 2000 each. I'm gonna go into the Lyrilisk. He doesn't take the 400 here, but it's really not that relevant. Oh yeah, he does eventually take the 400, but then just reduces 400 one time. That's it, yeah. So that's fine. Then go into Downert, and then go into Zeus. Then he does actually forget the Downert, and I also forget to point that out. But I just blow up the entire field, and now I just have to hope I'll top deck something good. And I can potentially even go Extravagance the next turn, 6 more cards in the extra deck. And even though it will be kind of annoying if I do, bench the Heralds, I do really just need some kind of cards. Because the only thing I've going right now is Zeus. I'm just gonna go let everything through until something happens that might cause me to lose the game. But then, as you'll see, my opponent's actually gonna concede to the Zeus. So yeah, Nekroz Drytron, ladies and gentlemen. Really struggling with beating Sacred Beast here. But I think the duel was at least a little bit enjoyable, just from a casual perspective. If you did make it this far into the video, please consider leaving a like, leaving a comment. If you have good ideas for the Nekroz list, I will be trying to play next week, or maybe even later this week, because I do have some catch up to do to reach enough episodes this month. But we'll see, because I am very busy with work and stuff, like I said. And yeah, if you haven't subscribed yet, but do enjoy this kind of content, please consider doing so. It's just really appreciated, because it does give me good motivation to keep going with the channel. So yeah, guys, that was the video for today. Next video is actually going to be a Digimon video, because my product finally arrived. Hurrah! If you're interested in that, I'll see you in that one. And if not, I'll see you in the next Yu-Gi-Oh video. Bye, guys.